Good morning, Skidaway Island Church family. I'm speaking to you this morning from Canoe Point State Park, just on the Canadian-U.S. border. The story I want to relate for today's devotional happened here about 3 weeks ago. The scripture that I picked out for this story from the New King James Version is Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. The subtitle of today's devotional is We Had Plans. We did have plans. We got the dinghy in the water, we got the motor all set, we got our life jackets on, and we were headed over to Picnic Point, which is about a mile away, to swim and have conversation with some of our boating friends. As we were motoring out of the dock and speeding up, probably 100 feet from the dock, all of a sudden there was a crunching sound and the motor stopped dead in its tracks. I knew immediately what had happened. The bow line, which should have been secured, had fallen under the boat and had wrapped itself around the propeller and the shaft of the outboard motor. Not a bad fix. I was able to reach over the side and after 5 minutes extricate the rope from the motor and the shaft. Holding my breath, I restarted the motor, which started immediately, and put it in gear, happy to find that the pin was not sheared and we were able to start. As I glanced around, I noticed ashore that there were people who were waving their hands over their head trying to get our attention. So I immediately headed back to shore. What had happened is a lady had fallen on her boat coming into the marina and had some bleeding from the top of her scalp. And I was the only one with any medical knowledge in the area, so they quickly got my attention. We came ashore, I rendered first aid, cleaned the wound out with a little bottled water and some gauze that the marina had supplied, to find that there was a probably 2-inch laceration in the top of her scalp. Not life-threatening, but certainly one that could probably use a stitch, and she needed to go to the hospital just to rule out the fact that she didn't have a concussion. So a CAT scan or some x-rays were in order. As I'm tending to her, she relates to me that after she fell, she asked God for someone who might be able to help her in her circumstance. Kind of a little bit taken aback, but not surprised. I said to her that in my morning devotionals, I had asked God that I might be helpful to someone today. So in a way, both of our prayers were answered. A situation that could have been bad, the rope getting fouled in the prop of the outboard motor, actually, when you look back on it in the retrospectoscope, was God's way of stopping me and making me available to help someone in need. I think life is like that. We have the option of looking at things that may go wrong or may be bad, and we always think of the worst case scenario to that. In this instance, this was God's way of getting my attention and keeping me in the area where I could render aid. The good news is that several hours later, after she returned from the hospital, I greeted her at the dock, and she related to me that when they pulled in to shore, the boat they docked next to was named John 3:16. That kind of sent a few shivers down my spine. But it just goes to show that we have an awesome God, that God is always looking for opportunities for us to serve him if only we have the eyes to hear and the ability to wait and answer that call, no matter what the circumstance. I leave you with this thought that as you go about your day to day, Look for opportunities. Ask God for opportunities of how you may best serve Him. And then don't be surprised when He offers you perhaps an unconventional way of making that happen. Have a good and blessed day.